My presentation is about integrating attentional factors and spacing in logistic knowledge tracing models to explore the impact of training sequences on category learning. In category learning, a lot of research has tried to answer the question of how to present information to optimize category learning and generalization. Among them, an emerging body of literature has focused on interleaving and blocking. Interleaving means present one item from one category followed by an item from another category. Blocking means present all items from the same category together. There is a two-stage framework of state sequencing effects. During the attention-based stage, learners need to identify relevant features of the category structure. Interleaving enhances attention to between category differences. Blocking draws attention to within category similarities. During the memory-based stage, learners need to memorize the cluster of features and establish associations between the features and the category labels. Interleaving is beneficial because interleaving spaces exemplars from the same category apart. Learners can benefit from the spacing effect. Blocking is not beneficial because blocking lacks spacing. The research objective is to develop a computational model that integrates both attentional factors and spacing in logistic knowledge tracing models to understand the impact of training sequences on category learning. We did the analysis in the logistic knowledge tracing framework, which enables us to compare various student models, such as the additive factors model and the performance factors analysis model. The AFM model tracks counts of prior practices and predict learners' performance. The PFA model uses counts of prior successes and failures to predict learners' performance. There are three spacing features in the LKT framework. The predictive performance equation tracks the number of practices and elapsed time. Base 4 is similar to the PPE feature. The primary difference is that PPE uses all past trials ages to estimate the forgetting rate, whereas Base 4 considers only the age of the first trial. Therefore, the PPE feature may be more accurate at tracing spacing and decay. The recency feature was developed to capture the recency effect. Even though it is not a direct measure of spacing, it can capture the spacing cost performance difference between interleaving and blocking. There is no attentional feature in the LKT framework. Therefore, we developed one based on the theory. We used counts of comparisons between adjacent trials, whether it is from the same or different categories, to represent the differences between interleaving and blocking. Interleaving has more between category comparisons, whereas blocking has more within category comparisons. We did five-fold cross-validation 10 times, and we used R-squared, AUC, root mean squared error, and correlation coefficients between the model prediction and the real data to estimate the model fit. We have two data sets, the bird category learning and the blob figures learning. Both the data sets involved a manipulation of the training sequences, interleaving, blocking, and category similarity. For the bird category learning, we first compared models with and without spacing features. This table shows the mean test fold fitting results. We can see that the model with best fit is the AFM model with the PPE. All the models can have a better prediction on the learner's performance during the post-test. During the learning session, however, on the post-test, they have very bad prediction. So specifically, for example, the PFA model, their prediction on the post-test had a negative correlation with the real data. This figure shows the participants' performance during the learning session and the post-test. We can see that during the learning session, the larger block size, in other words, blocking, have better performance than interleaving. However, on the post-test, blocking had worse performance than the interleaving. And both AFM and PFA model can predict a learner's performance during the learning session. However, they can't predict learner's performance during the post-test very well. In the second step, we compared the models with attentional features. And we find that the model with best fit is the AFM model with both attentional feature and the PPE. And we can see that in this figure, the blue dots shows the best model. It can capture this pattern of the student's performance during the post-test, that the interleaving had worse performance than the interleaving had better performance than blocking. Similarly, we find that participants' performance Similarly, we find that the AFM model with both attentional feature and the PPE feature has the best model fit for the blob figures learning dataset. The cross-validation results suggest that both the spacing and the attentional factors are important to capture the effect of the training sequence on category learning, especially when there is a reverse pattern between the post-test and the learning session. Sequencing effects, like many basic findings in human memory, show that the strategies promoting faster initial performance often do not lead to robust long-term learning. And in the future, we can test the model with a broader range of datasets, ensuring the model's efficacy across diverse educational contexts. We can also conduct a comparative analysis with other knowledge tracing models, such as the Bayesian knowledge tracing and Bayesian knowledge tracing for getting. Thank you. Any questions?